Welcome, welcome. I am Dena, and this is Discussions with Dena. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I am sending you well wishes and positive energy today. I want you to have peace in your life. So I'm sending positive energy to each and every one within the sound of my voice. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, like, and share this podcast. Today, I wanted to share with you something that I found very interesting, something that I found quite disappointing, but something that has a bit of truth, but there was a lot of disappointment from what I heard and what I want to share with you today. Now, you know, from time to time, I like to see what other content creators are speaking on and what they are speaking about. So I make an effort to seek out Black content creators that share positive commentary that can inform, unite, uplift our people. I am looking for other content creators that encourage us to do and be better and build our own communities. And in my effort to do so, sometimes I listen in on different podcasts or commentaries that are being given on social media. And often I agree or disagree with whatever it is, but I respect others' rights to have their own opinion. So there's this particular YouTuber that I came across, and some of the information that he was sharing was quite interesting, and he was pointing out a couple of things that are going on in our community that we need to improve on. And I am one of those people that believe that we always have room for improvement, but if we call out something that we disagree with, which is perfectly okay, I think that we should also offer suggestions for improvement, or at least speak with others that may offer ways that we can improve ourselves in our struggle for unity, liberation, and rebuilding the Black family here in America, because there is no denying that we have been totally discombobulated. So, as I said, I discovered this YouTuber, and there were some interesting things that he said in two of his previous videos that I listened to, and I actually commented on them. And I heard some things that I agreed with, as I've said before, but there was also something that he said that left me wondering. And this third particular video commentary that I want to share with you kind of confirmed where I think he was going, and I want to share it once again because I found it very interesting, and I would love to know what other Black people think about what it is that he is saying. So bear with me, I'm going to share some of his content, some of what he said on this commentary. And if you would like, please subscribe so that you may comment and share with me what you got from what it is that he is saying, what you think about it. And here we go.
I'm curious to know, why are Black American women still dating Black American men? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to see what's in it for you. I'm trying to see the purpose of it. I'm trying to see, what do Black women in America communication process in which people decide on who's going to be their spouse, right? So dating is a process that leads to marriage. Maybe I should say it that way. That's to my understanding. That's the whole purpose of dating, courting, meeting someone, communicating with someone, is to see if this person is fit for marriage, right? To be a spouse. But when you look at the numbers though, and you see 72% of your community is filled with single parent households, well, that lets us know, and that should let you know as well, that there's no dating going on. Something else is going on, right? That's pretty obvious, but dating is not happening because nobody's going to the end goal, right? Nobody's getting married. So, I can't find another word for dating. Something else is going on, and we're even going to talk about that something else later in today's conversation. There's a Black American male on the right? This Asian American male is homegrown. This has nothing to do with China, right? Nothing to do with Japan, or Korea, or the Philippines, or etc., right? Asian American male. And when you see this Black American male, has nothing to do with Africa. Has nothing to do with South America. This is homegrown as well. Black American man, right? Next to the Asian male image, it says 19% of his community is single parent households. And then it has a Black American male. And it says 72% of his community is single parent households. So now we ask ourselves, why is it like this? Two separate communities. Everybody's homegrown in the United States. So we're sharing the same cities, the same spaces, the same public squares, the same governmental structure. Yet, one male, the Asian American male in his neighborhood, he damn near marries everybody that gets pregnant. Only 19% of his community is single parent households. Meanwhile, the Black American male has 72% of his community is filled with single parent households. So now I gotta ask Black American women, right? What you dating brothers for? In my estimate, right, if you're asking me, do I think it's time for Black women to date outside their race? Yes. Black men in the United States, we got some serious issues.
And if you raped yourself, honestly, if you raped yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would
And?
Yeah, let's get back to reality.
No, I'm in reality.
No, you're not in reality.
I'm in reality.
You're not in reality. If you're gonna be a 10, we can end this. Because that's not reality. You're not a supermodel.
So what are you?
And I say it a lot on this platform. It's real. There's a lot of poison in our men in this country.
Pressure around this motherfucker. Bitch definitely gonna get sweated around this motherfucker. Yeah, bitch, you came in a circle of pimps. Bitch, you better get it too, ho. Oh, the bitch made it through. She made it through. She broke through the barrier. Hold on, ho. It's a pressure being applied around here. Some real pimping though, bitch. Oh, the hoe act like she never been called a bitch before, huh?
And typically that poison runs from 16 to 33. But now I'm kind of noticing that poison is going from 12 to, I want to say, 35 now. Starting a little younger, it's getting a little older. Means this. Black women, we love till they hit rock bottom. Right now, you in love with a person that got substance abuse issues. A lot of internal poison. It's a lot of rust on our people, on our men. And we had our plight here in America, and somehow you as women shook off the rust and the poison faster than we are able to. Right? You shook it off. We haven't shook it off yet. We haven't figured it out yet. And what we're doing is loving you. And in that loving connection, we're taking you down with us. So the only analogy I can give you is that's like you loving someone in your family that's suffering and battling with crack cocaine. You're in love with a crackhead. And the crackhead loves the streets. You can't get this person out the streets. You gotta let them go. And until we hit rock bottom, we can't bounce back up. We're gonna continue to steal from you because this is what crackheads do. And in this example, we ain't coming in your house and we're gonna steal your furniture, your television, or your microwave. We're gonna go in your purse and take a few dollars. No, what we're gonna do is we're stealing your time. Right? We're stealing your time and your energy. We're gonna drain you down. We're not ready to be where you want us to be. Because we haven't hit rock bottom because you're holding on to us. We can't hit rock bottom. And I'm saying, as a man with knowledge of self, the race gotta continue on. And unfortunately right now, you got to continue to carry the race, produce more children, earn more wealth, to stay in the fight in this country. We just ain't in the fight with you. And if you gotta move on in this fight, I'm encouraging black women to date Asian American males because they have proven that they're the most responsible males right now in this nation. We at the bottom. We ain't dating you, sis. Dating is a process. It's a communication process to lead to marriage. 72% of our neighborhoods is filled with single-parent households. That means we ain't dating nobody in the neighborhood. We ain't dating you. You going on a date, not us. We're waiting for the time to have sex. And then during that sexual process, we're irresponsible with our seed. We don't know nothing about how to properly use our reproductive organ. So we throwing seed all over the place sexually. And then we're also putting the seed inside of you. And then when it's time for being responsible, we're not going to be there. We haven't hit rock bottom yet. So 72% of our community is filled with single-parent households. So we've proven to you we're not going to marry you, right? I won't let you put your money on us. I'm encouraging you to open up your minds, and I'm going to show you another team that's doing well. And right now, the number one team in this country is the Asian Americans. And the thing about you, you got a beauty and a swag that every man on the planet wants you. When you get you some time, I want you to look up Zambia, right? Because now I'm going to talk on a global level. I want you to look at Zambia. There's a ruling class that's sprouting up in Zambia. You know what that ruling class is? Chinese men marrying the black women of Zambia, and they're creating this biracial class. But that biracial class got all the money and all the wealth. Do you know what that Chinaman said when he got to Zambia? He said he don't need to bring his woman along with him. When he got with that black woman, he didn't even look no further. Black women, not only in America, but globally, is the cream of the crop. And guess what? Everybody can see that but the Black American male. We can't see that. So now the ball in your court, and I'm asking you, what are you going to do?
And there it is. Now, what you just heard was this brother that is encouraging, and I'm presuming that it's indeed a brother, because oftentimes, you know, there are perpetrators, but in this case, he called himself a brother. Now, I literally had to rewind and listen to this closely, because it just made absolutely no sense to me. This is a black man speaking, even though there are some truths in what he said. I literally had to rewind and listen closely. So he is encouraging his black women to date Chinese or Asian men. Now, he spoke about the wealth and the percentage as far as the percentile of those men in that group who marry the women of that group. And on his page, he did share pictures of interracial couples. And I'm looking at this and listening to it. And my first thought is, what has happened to our men? What has happened to black people where they cannot understand and realize what it is that is going on with us? As he is encouraging black women to seek out Asian men to marry, what does that say about our men? And what does that say about black people as a group? And if we are honest with ourselves, it means exactly what it sounds like from him in his case. Because I can't speak for all black people, but his mindset is aiding in self-genocide. And the reason he can speak like this and think that he is doing something that is beneficial to black people and black women is because of his experience here. There is no people on this earth that has experienced what we have while we have been in bondage and in captivity here. And what we're listening to, I think, is what happens when your mindset, everything that you have learned about yourself, your understanding, your perception of yourself and your people have been given to you by the very people that caused your oppression to begin with. So when that knowledge of self, when the knowledge of your culture, of your people was taken away from you, and your very identity that connects you to the other people on this planet was taken away, your very nature was taken away, somebody else's nature was put in you. And that's what he's speaking from. You can hear a black man talking about wealth and urging his women to go and be with another race. What will happen to your race if everybody thought like that? Have you ever heard a Caucasian say that? Imagine a Jewish man telling his daughter to go choose a German to marry because of their income, their wealth, their place within this society. That would be unheard of. And this is something that requires deep thought as a family of people. It's quite disappointing, to be honest. But this is not the first I've heard of this. Because we have been made confused and unaware of whom and what we are as a people, we've become comfortable. So all of those people that we remember from the past, Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, that was about the liberation of the people, the building of a better life for Black people, the uniting and constructing so that we can live happily with each other, peaceful and free from the torture, from tyranny. All of that went to waste. It went to waste. Somewhere along the line, we lost that ability. And now, listen at how we speak. It's a sad commentary, to be honest. And it is quite disturbing. And I rewind it several times because I heard him say that he is a man with knowledge of himself. And I would have to question that, because I don't know any man with an understanding, a true understanding of himself, would say such a thing. Of course, we have a lot to do, and there are a lot that our men should be doing that they are not doing. And we should expect more from them. But is this really the way you go about doing it? It's like you're shucking your duties. You're putting that responsibility onto someone else. Once again, asking someone to do for you what you can and should be doing yourself. Now, this is 2021, and we still do not fully understand the circumstances that have manipulated us and that has exacerbated the power of propaganda. This is an advantage to the hidden hand that is the actual enemy. Our people are messed up, it's true. But there are so many that do have a clear understanding of what the mission is, and they're continuing it. They're so hidden today that we often don't see them on the forefront, but they're here and they exist. So when we hear rhetoric like this, we think that this is the answer. And this is not the answer, Black people. But it's sad that some of us have come to that conclusion. And it lets me know further that we're not willing, some of us are not willing to do the work that it takes to bring you back to your natural self. See, we have been conveniently separated from the struggle of our people. People like Harriet Tubman, W.E.B. Du Bois, and so many others. Great people, our people, Black people, that we don't truly understand or know why they were willing to sacrifice their lives so that we can build family and build communities. The truth is, our people and some of our men and women are you're just tired of struggling, and you don't want to transform Black America and Black people in general. So you have chosen to practice self-genocide, for it is much easier to do that than to build and do what is in your nature. I want to share one more thing with you that I found interesting. What we need now is the spirit of truth and love and a desire to hear and understand and comprehend. Because the desire for true and a complete freedom is the only way to continue our legacy here. Now, we will never find completion mating with others. What we will find is genocide, and we will be aiding in the production of new oppressors. That's what we will find. Now, we're speaking about what he was speaking about, Asian or Chinese, that black women should engage in reproducing with mating, dating, and his ideology is that is how you would continue the black race. And that is in fact not true. You would be creating a new people. You will not be creating black people. Now, there are Chinese that are in several parts of Africa, as there are other people. They have conquered many of our minds, so they can come and go as they please, mentally, physically, and otherwise. That's what happens when you're dealing with conquered people. Now, the Chinese have found a home in Africa. There were several articles that a couple of years ago explained this phenomenon that is going on in China. They are robbing this country of its resources, and they are using land in Africa to service to pay some of their debt. So they're, in essence, they're stealing the land and the resources. So many Chinese workers are in this country, and they are in all the 4 sub-Saharan regions to engage in construction and mining work. Their migration is part of agreements that they have with the African government, which will allow them to build so-called infrastructure, I should say. This is supposed to be aiding the African people, but there is a motive here. We should always be looking for that motive in any people that chooses to assist a black country, because look at the history. Now, as part of this agreement, the government of Africa allows the Chinese to build infrastructure and develop the continent while deepening so-called bilateral relations. But it is not as it suggests, and is not necessarily as beneficial to the black nation of people, because these people have a devotion and a loyalty to their kind, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But we need to practice that. And all men should practice that on behalf of their people. You don't hear the Chinese people saying, here, take our women. You don't hear any group saying that. Nothing but the mentally dead would speak that way. Now, these relationships in China with the Africans there have gone beyond governments. I mean, the Chinese workers there, they're considered temporary migrants, but they are sowing seeds there on African soil. And what I mean by that is they are fathering unwanted children with young African women and girls who have no means to fend for themselves. So they're engaging in sex with black women, producing babies, and leaving them there as they go back to their own country and their own Chinese wives. And I wouldn't encourage that for anyone. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but wake up, people of mine. There are mining towns in Ghana and communities around Karuma Dam construction site in Uganda and Thika Road construction site in Kenya, among many other communities around this continent, which has hundreds of Chinese-looking babies. There are documentaries all over TV. They're on the internet. Just simply key in. One of them was with the BBC. And it revealed that many young women were struggling to take care of their mixed race children that are left behind by Chinese illegal miners in Dongfa in the central region. They reported in 2013 that 4,500 Chinese miners were in the area until the government cracked down against these illegal mining activities. They were destroying river bodies and vegetation, and the children, they were the ones that were the most affected by this stigmatization, because their mothers were ridiculed in these very poor communities. And I'm going to read you what one of the guys said. When my daughter gave birth, we discovered that the child was Chinese looking. We attempted to find the father of the boy, but the Chinese had left, said Wofa K, the grandfather of a 4-year-old. They call him Afro Chinese boy called Evans Kofi China. Now, his mother says she faces difficulties raising this boy because she can't afford school fees, hair, and body lotion, which are expensive. Then they spoke to a 20-year-old named Jacqueline Aduro, and she was a resident of Arukalong, Zambia parish. And she has a 1.5-year-old daughter with a Chinese worker that was simply identified as Yahang. And she said they met there and started a relationship in 2015 during her search for a job at that company. And he promised to marry her and take her to China, only for him to leave without her while she was 5 months pregnant. Now, Adero was left without a job and a baby, and she couldn't take care of the baby. And it is said that they only feed on biscuits and soft drinks. And she said that when the child is given the local dishes, that she develops rashes all over her body. And she said, I'm just a peasant and unable to raise this child. Now, Adero's father is asking the company to find the baby's father. Good luck with that. Now, what is even worse is this information. We sick mentally, black people. And now I want to share something else with you that shows the degree of our self-hate and how we will not get up off our behinds and do what we need to do to develop our own nation, to learn how to be loyal to one another, to put in the work. There is so much that we allow to happen to us. We have control over this stuff that we're dealing with. We have complete control. We don't want to put in the effort. There was a French tourist who admitted that he impregnated more than 600 women in 6 African countries within 2 years. He was 40 years old. His name was John Michael. And he made this revelation on an online news site called Africa 24. He said the 6 countries included Nigeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Togo, Ghana, and Guinea. Many Africans see, these are his words, many Africans see all Westerners as very wealthy people who can change their lives. They easily give in to all their requests and desires and are taken advantage of. His confession has been translated from French to English and by Simon Atiba in Washington, the District of Columbia. And this was on, once again, a show called Good Morning Africa 24. He says, I have a confession to make about the havoc I have wreaked in 6 African countries. Then he listed them. He said in France, he said it was an unfortunate experience, but unfortunate for whom? In France, where I hailed from, I did not have money. I was very poor until one day I played and won lottery. I won 550,000 euros. It was the largest sum of money I had ever received in my life. I did not know what to do, and a friend suggested we travel to Africa. We obtained all the documents, entry visa, and the rest, and our first stop was the Ivory Coast. In the capital of Ivory Coast, Abidjan, We rented a furnished apartment, we had money to spend, and met Ivorian people. And we became friends. They introduced young girls to us. And that's when it all started. I began having sex with girls every day. Sometimes I would sleep with 3 girls at the same time. It was a marvelous experience. I worried less about my health. Now these are his words. He said I worried less about my health. All I wanted was to have fun. My friends and I were in a nightclub in the town every day looking for girls. One time I met a girl and gave her money and she told me to be engaged to her. She was ready to get pregnant for me. These are black girls, black women that he is speaking of. And this is what he said. I don't know whether it was the money they liked or the fact that I was from France that attracted them. I spent 3 months in Ivory Coast, spent 60,000 euros, and slept with more than 80 girls. After leaving Ivory Coast, I went to Togo where I slept with over 100 girls and spent 40,000 euros. I spent 3 months in Togo and went to Nigeria. Nigeria was where I got more girls. I did not speak English, and it seems Nigerian girls love foreigners. I rented a furnished apartment in Nigeria and I was in Lagos for 6 months. I spent 100,000 euros and slept with 230 girls. Nigeria was the place I appreciated the most. Girls were always available and easy to deceive. From Nigeria, I went to Ghana and then Cameroon and ended what I described as my sex tour in Guinea. I was in those 3 countries for more than a year and spent over 200,000 euros. If I told you I slept with more than 700 girls in those 3 countries, you won't believe me, but it was unbelievable. In all, I slept with more than 1,400 girls in 6 different African countries. I have all their pictures in my photo album, including the dates we met, their names and phone numbers. I opened a Facebook account only for them. Since I returned to France, I have had more than 600 of them who told me they got pregnant for me. Some committed abortion. I do not know exactly how many finally gave birth. This is shameful, and it speaks volumes about our mentality and self-hate. He went on to say that Africa is a marvelous continent. I know it is. Girls are beautiful and very sexy. All they want is a man who has money, and the worst is when he's white. I realized that they love having mixed race babies. And why is that? He said, I do not know why, but many would do anything to get pregnant for you. 100 euros is plenty of money in Africa. To summarize, I went on a sex tour in Africa. I slept with 1,400 girls in 2 years, and more than 600 got pregnant. I know many of you would judge me, but I do not care about your insults. I know that what I did is not good, but I enjoyed my stay in Africa, and I am planning another trip to Senegal, Mali, Gabon, Benin, Niger, and Democratic Republic of Congo. The day I returned to France, I went to the hospital for medical exams, and luckily I was HIV negative, and I did not have any other infectious disease. I don't believe a word of that part, but those are his words. He said his friend was also negative and they're planning another trip. See, they know you are other than yourself and they take advantage of your self-hate and your stupidity. This is not beneficial to us here or anywhere else. It just further shows how we want other people to love and do for us what we should be doing for ourselves. I mean, to hear all of that and to brag about doing that is sickening. And we still have not learned. After all of these years, we have not learned that learning to love ourselves is indeed the greatest love of all. Accepting yourself and being yourself, black man. We need to teach it, practice it, and live it. See, as black women, we are. We are not creatures that should be bought or sold. And simply because you have inhaled and rationalized this culture and this philosophy, it doesn't make it right. This is the mentality of our enslavers. It isn't right It shouldn't be something that's actual factual because it's not good for us as a people. And yes, interracial dating is more prominent now than ever before. And we know why that is so, because you have now been given the ability to engage in sex, procreate with, and have relationship with other races you think you have overcome all the harmful discrimination, hostility, and police brutality. And so you feel no need to do for self and kind, and that's why we are in error. You are unaware of the importance of accepting and establishing your own. You can't be intertwining and intermingling with others and don't have your own situation together. We are not at that point in our development yet. We're not. We're very ignorant. And this proves it. We are oblivious to what is going on around us. We're focusing on fighting each other and being estranged from one another, while the world is being taken from us. Our mind is constantly being seduced with propaganda, and it prevents us from developing into the people that we were intended to be. So now the diameter of your knowledge and the circumference of your character is evident. So at this point, it is fair to question our intelligence. Now, see, I was taught by a wise man that a woman is created with the Creator's intelligence and are representatives of the Supreme Being's charity. And when she is in her right mind, she has the ability to create heaven. Key word, in her right mind. For her to be in her right mind, there has to be an environment in place. There has to be, and you have to help create that environment, black man. And this is something that a lot of you don't want to hear, but it's factual. You have to be willing to work on yourself. Because when women are dissatisfied, we don't keep it to ourselves. And as the teacher says, and he is accurate, give women good and they will tell good. They will produce good. Give women evil and women will train your children to hate you. And most certainly they'll tell bad. And this is evident in what we see going on in many of our people's lives today. It is true that black women deserve respect and loyalty from our black men. And this is the only way we can raise a true nation of black people. Your praising other women from other groups is a definite no-no. It's a no-no. We understand and are aware of the things that require fixing within the black female and male, but this is our job to do. We don't hand it off to another group. You don't shuck your duties. It is not and will never be fixed by choosing to mate with other people. I'm sorry. You will just continue to make seeds that continue this self-hate of their blackness, never knowing the true essence of the power that you possess as a people, because you decided to leave your castle on the hill and you went and wallowed in filth in the shack down the street. Because we are experiencing, and I think we're experiencing a breaking away, a separation of the wheat and terry. I really think that's what we're experiencing now. But if we were busy developing ourselves and preparing our people, liberating our people, we would have been already liberated by now. If that's what we would have been busy doing, it would be in full effect now. but we keep being distracted from our task. We have so much propaganda that keep us distracted constantly. And I'm going to say this is true for some of you. Not that we can't all be distracted at different times under different conditions. But some of you, and I'm not going to lump all black men in the same category, for there are some righteous brothers building, protecting, providing, and constantly working for the betterment of our people. You're striving to create a better world for your black women, your black children, and the black nation of people. And I would be amiss if I did not point that out. We have some day ones out here when it comes to black men, so I'm not grouping all black men together. There are a lot of black men that know and appreciate and understand the blessing that is the black woman, but he doesn't get the shine that he deserves. He is not propped up or held in esteem or even given a platform for the world to see. Nope, he's not, because that would mean that all this pretentiousness would be ineffective and thereby ruining the plan put in place by the hidden hand. There are black men out here that are doing the work, believe me. There are black groups of people who have established schools. Do you show them your support? They have grocery stores, they have restaurants, they have banks, they have things that we need, and they're producing it and offering it to us. We don't hear a lot about them, but we should. But if we did, that would mean that the so-called divestors, the self-haters, and the haters of progress would no longer have an excuse to justify their foolishness. And they could no longer profit from our ignorance and self-hate. And we know propaganda controls our thinking. There is no doubt we have lost black men. We have a lot of lost black men and women. And that's simply people who don't understand their role and the importance of the black family and the black nation of people. And a lot of us need to be trained. And it needs to begin from birth. We need a re-education, a constant training, how to be effective fathers and mothers and builders of our own nation. But what is the job of those with the knowledge and understanding that these people don't have? If you have this knowledge and understanding, what is your job? I'll put it like this. What is the job of the civilized people? The civilized ones with true knowledge of self and knowledge of what must be done. Because there will always be rebellious people among us. There will always be people you can teach, you can present information, they will reject it. And that is understood. We have to accept that and move on. We will never ever rid ourselves of those that seek respite and acceptance from their lifelong captives. That's just a fact. But even today, we have to train our boys and men to respect the black woman. And the best way is by your example, black men. Let them see you treating her well, speaking kind to and promoting black love in the black family. And that means we have to respect ourselves as well, black women and black people in general. We don't continue black lineage without a black woman and a black man. So you can mate with whomever you want to, that is just a fact. These are the ingredients that are necessary to make black children. Black woman, black man, make black child. So intermixing with others, don't fool yourself into thinking you're making black people. You are making other than or mixed. It doesn't lessen them as human beings, but let's just be actual and factual about the matter. Because any man that disrespects a woman is a man that has no regard to the present or the future. Now, I have a brother that's on the internet, and he's always saying that the black woman has the best genes on the planet, and he says that the black man is second. So this eugenics plan is actually totally just simply white supremacy. Having said that, we have to be careful of the words that we speak, because words can change the complexion of your thinking. So encouraging the black nation of people to not be a nation, but to go and intermingle with others can be self-destruction. After 400 years of slavery, here we are still having to be reminded that we have the ability, we have the capacity and the knowledge we need to free ourselves from the remnants of slavery. We got to get that out of our psyche, that we can't, that we have to go seek someone else for that. There are plenty of people qualified to lead, assist those who may not know. But are you? You have to ask yourself, are you willing to do what it takes to reconstruct the black man? And in doing so, you're reconstructing the black family. Are you comfortable running in place similar to a hamster on the wheel? Because this division and it keeps us mentally conquered and unable to avoid this propaganda machine. This propaganda machine is designed to keep us blind, deaf, and dumb, manipulating our ignorance and keeping us out of power, because our focus is not on what it should be, it's on foolishness. And we have to be able to recognize this propaganda machine. Well, those are my thoughts on this issue. I want to know what you think. Feel free to subscribe and leave your comments on this topic. Like, share, and join me right back here Saturday at 3 p.m. I want to thank you for listening, and I will see you next time on Discussions with Dena.